Hi, welcome to the Locker Room Podcast. My name is Ross Bennett, your host today, where we're going to be speaking about a priority checklist for new head coaches or managers going into a role in any stage of the season, but probably more pertinent right now as you're setting up for a pre-season for your club in the GA scene. So before we get into a few key topic points, I just want to make sure and direct you to our website at Daily Sports Science. It's dscoaching.ie. Please head to the website and have a look at all the bits and pieces and different resources that are on offer there. Okay, so key main points that we're going to be going through today. Priority list for a head coach or manager coming in. And we'll go through more detail a bit later on, but essentially there's 6 of them that's really, really important. So number 1, really important that you know your players going into a new squad. Number 1, make sure you've got as much info as you can knowing your players. Number 2, make sure you have an identity and a style of play that you want to implement that could be based on the players that you currently have there, or could be based on a system you think is going to work universally. And make sure you have that ready to present, ready to go. Number 3, make sure your MDT is solid. So your backroom staff, whether that's new people, whether that's relationships with current staff that are in there, make sure that's ready to go and there's clarity on roles. Number 4, assess the structure, facilities, and what you can actually implement as a program, but also the potential expansion of the club. A lot of head coaches and managers have a really, really good tie into the community, and you've got to tap into that as well. So make sure you know what the club has to offer. Number 5, make sure your periodization is set up and you've got the 4 weeks ready to present to players and staff. That might be in collaboration with some MDT, of course, but make sure you're organized and ready to go. And number 6, make sure you're prepared to win that first game, that first competitive game. Make sure you're prepared to do what it takes to go and have an impact and win that game. So that's the 6 points. Again, please head over to our website, dscoaching.ie. And this is Locker Room Podcast, and Ross Bennett is your host. Okay, so welcome back. I've given you a bit of a rough guide of what the 6 points are. I'm going to now go through a little bit of detail in what we think, or what I think is quite important for somebody stepping into a new job, whether that be a head coach position or a manager role, to go and have impact and be really well set up within that organization. So number 1, as I spoke about before, knowing your players. So when you take a new job or you get offered a new job role, you might not have much understanding about who the players are in the building in terms of their ability from a skill level. So from a sporting perspective, have you done your job and your analysis around what each player is good at and how they can serve into your team? But also as people, and from a personal perspective, the biggest thing about getting the most out of your players is having a really solid connection. So do you know anything? Can you scale your network around what personal situation these players are in, what their jobs are, what clubs they've been at, a little bit of their journey, what sports did they play growing up, how did they end up in this position, to really, really build that connection, that rapport. And then from a sporting perspective, then you need to start thinking about what IDPs or individual development plans are you going to put in place to really help these players. So it's really, really important you do your research across your network, you watch the games, and you have a really, really intense period from the time that you go for the role to the time that you walk in the building, if you get given the job, to make sure you can connect with players and help players from day one. So that's point number 1. What feeds into that then is making sure you have your identity, your principles, and your style of play ready to present. Now, managers and head coaches have a style that they typically favor. So they'll have a similar style of how they want to play, principles that they value, values that they have to them, that they want to see within their players and with their teams. So whether that's a high pressing style, whether that's a nice possession-based team, whether that's a team that plays into the front line really quickly, whether that's a counter-attack team, whatever that looks like, you'll have your identity and your preferred style. Now, it's really important that when you do your analysis on the team and the players you have in the building, how can your style be implemented with the current group of players? So there's your few tweaks that you might have to make. You might not have the technical base or the physical capacity to be able to play a high press, the technical base to be able to play a possession-based approach. So you need to figure out quickly what you think you're going to be able to implement straight away and what journey you're going to take those players on. So make sure you're ready to present a really, really thorough, detailed approach to what your team's going to look like from the start, how you're going to build, and where you're going to work towards, because that's how you get buy-in from everybody. That essentially is going to get you the job. Like, how is that style and identity going to get you to be successful as a team and win games? But also you need to be able to get buy-in from players and staff when you're in the building. So number 2, make sure you're really, really thorough around those principles. Number 3, really, really key for me, organize your MDT. So what's the scope for you to bring people in? Have you got people in that are competent and that you know well? Like, trust is really, really big in any sporting situation. Do you trust the staff that are in the building? Do you need to bring people in? But aside from trust, because trust is really important, the other biggest importance is making sure you have people that are competent for the role. If you have people that are really competent and experts in that area and experienced, then you can lean on them to make your job easier. So whether that's a physical performance coach, whether that's a physiotherapist, whether that's your selectors and other coaches that are going to do some unit work and support you on the grass, whether that's operations and logistics team, whatever that looks like, make sure you have your team set up and you're happy when you take the job of what that team looks like, because you'll live and die on your decisions, and your decisions will be implemented by the staff that are in place. So make sure you're happy with people bringing in and people in the building. Number 4, before you start looking at like scheduling and timetable and programs, make sure you know exactly what the club has to offer. What's the facilities like? Do you have access to change room? Do you have access to gym? Do you have access to post-training food? All these things that you want to set the standards really high, make sure you know that before putting your program in place. It's really, really important that you don't overreach what you can deliver without knowing exactly what you can deliver from a logistical perspective. But number 2, you want to see whether there's opportunity to get involved in expansions and growth. I think the most successful head coaches and managers are ones that connect to the community. So if there is an ability to deliver within the community, if there is an ability to expand the club, it gives you a strong foothold in that club as you're going on the journey with the club. You're not just a head coach that's coming in just about to get results. And if you don't, then there's no connection you can go. So again, it's about building connection to the board. It's about building connection to the whole community, which puts you in a really strong situation and gives you that sense of belonging. Number 5, once you have all this information, make sure you have your 4-week periodization ready to go. You've got information on where the team have been from a training perspective, what they've done in off season, how fit are they, how much can you push, how much do you need to pull back. You need to look then at that journey of working towards that first competitive game if you're fortunate enough to come in during the off season. If you're not, then you've got to figure out pretty quickly, how can I implement my style, my identity? How can I get to work without pushing these players too far? Because you're in a competitive season. So you need to make sure you get them to the start point of games, but you also need to make sure they're ready to handle those games. So make sure when you have your style, your identity, your principles, you have your periodization ready to go. Can you deliver this to players? Show how organized you are, show how detailed you are, give them your party tricks, and then deliver on the grass what you say you're going to. And then the last one is really, really simple. Whatever your next competitive game is, whenever that is, remember you've gone in there to do a job. So philosophy, style, culture, everything you're going to talk about is so important, but it's all in the manual and it's all in your deck for when you present to go and win the next game. Have an impact, put a performance out where community, players, staff, supporters can look and go, wow, this guy's good. This team's good. I know why they've been brought there. So have that in the back of your mind. You might have a longer period during the off season if you get to go, like at the start of the season or just coming into pre-season. But if you don't, how can you make an impact straight away? Like, what decisions do you need to make from a style perspective, from a selection perspective? I would always say, don't be rash. When you go in somewhere and want to make like radical change, remember that change is only possible over time, especially with people in the building. Because if a club's made a change, the likelihood is they've not been in the greatest place. So you need to respect that. So there might be some senior players that don't fit the style or philosophy that you want to bring in, but you can't cull straight away. It's going to take time. So make sure you have the team winning that next game, whenever that is, in the forefront of your mind for how you're going to work there. Okay, a little bit of info there for managers and head coaches. I hope you found that helpful. Thank you for listening to the Locker Room Podcast, a solo podcast for me today. And again, please head over to dsscoaching.ie and check out our resources, which have many things like I've spoken about today over there. Thanks, guys.